Junkyard Junkie, back here with another video. In today's video, we're going to be installing this car reverse camera. With this how-to video, I'll be showing you how to do this so that way you can hide all your wires and you can do this on any car. So let's get started. So one of the most common reverse cameras you can get just bolts onto your tag, and that's what we'll be using today. The key points that you really want to think about when doing this job to make your life easier is one, how do you get it into the car after you attach it to the license plate? Two, which way are you going to run it through the car? I always go driver's side all the way up to the back of the radio. Three, you need to figure out where you're going to get your ground and your power. I'll show you exactly how to do that, and these come with a trigger wire. That way when you install your radio and you put it in reverse, it will automatically show up the reverse camera. So let's get started. So on a lot of cars, usually it'll be on the actual trunk itself, and usually there are little passageways that you can find to feed it into your trunk without having to ever drill or do anything like that. On this Mustang in particular, it's into the bumper, so we are going to have to drill a small hole for the wires to go through. I'm going to go ahead and raise the trunk now. So with this Mustang, I like to figure out where I'm going to go first, so I pop this off, and all we got left is just this one. And then you pop these out right there. It should. There we go. We're actually going to remove the tail light because that should give us access to the inside of this bumper. In most cases, it's pretty easy to pull the tail light out. Usually it's just 3 bolts, and that's what it is here. So one, open this up. We got 2 and 3. Okay, now that you got those 3 removed, you should be able to just rock it right out. Just like that. Okay, so with the tail light removed, as you can see, I can see the ground through there, so I can stick my grabbers down in there and grab the cord to pull it up. Okay, now that we know which way we want to run it, we're going to go ahead and start by taking off the tag and making a little hole for our wires to go through, and then we're just going to run our wires up there like we planned. Okay, so if we open up our kit, we get our reverse camera. So here it is. You have your yellow and your red. This goes to your power and ground. Yellow is your video, and we'll send that all the way up to the front. You have your video wire. This is how you go from the very back of the car to the very front. And this little red wire on both sides is to hook up your trigger wire. So that way, whenever you put it in reverse, when this gets power and you tie that into your radio, it will turn on your reverse camera. And then finally, to plug into your red one right here, you have this one, which is just your power and ground. You can keep constant power, or you can just attach it to your reverse light, just like your trigger wire. Okay, so if we look here, it'll go up here just like this and screw on top of your tag. We're going to drill a little hole right up here. That way nobody's ever going to see that hole. Okay, so this is where I'm going to use this stepper bit right here. It gradually goes up in size till we find the right size. So first we're just going to find our spot. We're going to try and make it in the middle as possible. Right there should be good. We just want to make it big enough for our wires to go through. So we'll stop and check to see if our wires can make it through. And nope, we're not quite there yet. Remember, take your time with this because you can always take more material off, but you cannot go back if you go too far. Check again. There we go. We got one through. Question becomes now, can we get the other one through? It's a tight fit, but I think we can get it through. There we go. Perfect. We're just going to keep running that into there. Okay, so if we look down, there's our wires. Okay, so I'm gonna stick my grabber down through there. You should see it come through. Now we're just gonna grab our wires, see how they open. When they open, we'll just put both these in here, just like that. Now we can pull it right up. Okay, so now that we got them up here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through this little grommet right here. We're just gonna make a small incision that will let us open up and push these through, and then we can always RTV it back. That way it still seals properly. You really don't need it, but it's good to be safe than sorry. So the wires going to it aren't very long, so we need to go ahead and plug up our wires we're going to be using. That way it doesn't fall down. Okay, so I'm just going to use a little razor blade just to make us a little incision. We'll make it from the back side. Don't matter which way you make it from. There we go. So you can't even really tell it's there until you push on it. Now let's see if we can get our wires through. So our red, go to red. We'll push our wires through here. Then we have to run our yellow through here. Okay, now that we got that through, our trigger wire needs to be hooked up. Usually you can do it inside, but we'll use a T-tap over here and we'll figure out which one of these is connected to the reverse light. I'll show you how to do that now. So first, on the inside of the car, you'll see the connector for the tail lights. You just want to unplug them. Just like that. We're going to see which one has juice on it whenever we put it in reverse, and then doesn't have juice on it when it's in any other gear. Okay, so for this we need to take our trusty test light. Okay, so we got power going to this one and none to the other. So this is our one right here. So now then we look how this plugs in like that, and we want the bottom right, which is this little white, almost tan color right here. So we come on this side and two browns. So those are our two browns, and then this is the white we need to go into. So now we're going to turn the car off so we don't waste battery. Okay, to tap into this wire, this is what we'll be using. You can cut them and solder them if you don't feel this is adequate, but I've used this on a lot of vehicles and it works just fine. So with this, you'll just put your wire in there, and then you'll also take your other wire and put it in the other hole, and then you'll clamp this down and it'll make connection between them. So we know we need this white wire, so we'll go ahead and stick it in here. Make sure it sits all the way in there, just like that. And now we're going to put this wire in there. All right, now that we got it stuck in there, we're just going to clamp it down. Just like that. And give it a little pull test, and that's connected. So now we have our trigger wire ready to go. What we're going to do is zip tie these to this, just so they don't flop around or maybe put too much tension right here, because we don't want that. And we can also feed this wire through more. There we go. Okay, so we'll just put this over here and zip tie it up. So just like this. There we go. And that way it shouldn't ever interfere with that. Go ahead and clip it off. Finally, you just want to pull this over and lock it in. Now we got a solid connection, but just to be sure, because this is your trigger wire, it will always go to your reverse light. We'll take the other end. Okay, so it's better to test it now than later. Go ahead and get your test light, and at the other end, we want to see power whenever we're in reverse. Okay, so now that we're done with this and we checked to make sure that this trigger wire worked, we can go ahead and put our tail light back on. Make sure everything fits up nicely. It's got 3 holes it goes into. Just want to line those up and they'll fall right into place. Okay, so now we're just going to take our nuts and put them back on. Okay, so our red and black wire coming from the red hookup powers and puts ground to the reverse light. So found the easiest way to separate these is just cut in the middle and then you can pull them apart. Okay, so for this you just want to find a ground. In my case, I know that this is a ground, it's pretty clear, but if you want to check to know if something is a ground or not, because you're going to look for a bolt on the body somewhere, take your test light, hook the other end of this to your battery positive, and then whenever you touch any ground, this will light up. So it works in reverse of finding something that's hot. But I know this is a ground, but when you're looking, you may not see one that's this obvious. So that's just a little tip. Okay, so what we're going to do is use a ring butt connector. I don't know the actual name, but they're pretty much butt connectors with a ring on the end of them. We're going to put it right on the threads underneath this bolt so it's grounded as well. So first, we'll grab our crimpers. We'll stick our ground wire in there. Okay, so for our hot wire, we're just going to do the exact same thing. We need this white one right here. Just got to find a good spot to get to it. And we're going to stick it right in there. Okay, so now that we got that in there, we just want to stick our other wire up in here. Get ready to clamp it down. Okay, once you get them together, you just want to clip this one and lock it just like you did the other one. Perfect. Okay, so we have this ready to go. So we'll just stick it right through here. That was close. It was almost too small. And we're just going to zip it right back in. Perfect. Now we have our ground and our positive. So let's go ahead and put this panel back on. Just move everything out of the way, just like that. So this is going to hide a lot of it. Okay, so now then we want to actually run this so it's hidden as well. Now what I like to do is remove this. Usually there's push tabs that you gotta pull out, little pull tabs. In my case, we have what looks to be a 12 millimeter. Nope, it's bigger. But what we can do instead is just run it down through here. So make us some room. Toss that up there. We're just going to run the wire up underneath here. Just like that. Just go behind this and under that. Now then, we just need to lower them seats in there so that way we can actually keep running it. This part's about to get really easy. Okay, so coming in here to the passenger seat, don't mind the mess. I'm working on a few different videos I actually just changed the steering wheel, upgraded it to the 2010 through 2014 steering wheel. You should check that video out now. But most cars will have a latch or a button. It's usually very easy to find, so you just want to look for it. So you just want to grab, pull it on down. And there's our wiring. So now we're going to pull our wiring tight. That way we can go ahead and hide it and be done with the trunk. We'll clean up the trunk in just a minute. So we got that. We're going to run it beside the seat. I do this in every car. So you just run it down the side of the seat. As you can see now, you can just keep tucking it into here. What I like to do is straighten this out all the way. Okay, as you can see here, I went ahead and straightened out this line and moved our mess further up. So now you just want to make sure you tuck this in pretty far, that way it doesn't come out. And then we can go around to this little trim, pop it out, move it under it. Put it back. Now we're just going to sit here and stuff it. Make sure you go on the right side of the seat belt, or you're going to have to do like I just did. Pick all this up, go around the inner part. Now if you have a plastic pry tool, most cars, what I'll do is I'll take that pry tool and push it up in here. With this Mustang, I'm pretty much able to get it with my hands. You can also pop it up if you need to. We just want to hide these wires so nobody can see them. So, as you can see, we are looking good. You can't tell that we ran the wires, and that's what we want. So now we got to work up here. Okay, so once you get here, you're just going to keep on just tucking it in. Actually go way down here and tuck it in down here. There's some wires getting our way up there, but we do have it tucked in right here, which is good. Now I'm going to go ahead and run it across this top area and zip tie it up, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so if we look here, we ran it underneath there. We zip tied it up to there. It came on around. The main things you want to remember right now is don't get them behind that steering column, and don't get them wrapped up in your pedals. You don't want that. So we go up through there. I found a place to zip tie it up there. We come on around, and then I just stuffed it into there because this is where our radio will be. Okay, so I'm gonna have to wait till I install the radio to finish this video, but I'll go ahead and insert what it looks like after it's done right here. Okay, if we take it and put it in reverse, our reverse camera comes on. If we take it out, it goes away. Okay, so now that we have everything installed, you just want to take your license plate, put it on underneath. Go ahead and get both these started. Run them down. There you go. Now when you're done, you're going to take this little film off, and you can also adjust this. So if you need it pointed down more, you can, or up. And that's going to do it for this video. If you found this video helpful, please leave me a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.